What's going on, friends? Welcome to episode 131 of the Money Peach podcast. And today we're going to be talking about the Roth 401k versus the 401k. And I absolutely love explaining the difference between the two, because once you fully understand what's going on between the two, it's going to open up your eyes and your mind to why the Roth 401k is so much better. So actually, this came from one of our listeners. She wrote, "Hey, Chris, I just found out from a friend at work that I have access to a Roth 401k. I currently save money into my 401k, and my employer gives me a match. My question is, should I stop saving into my 401k and instead save into the Roth 401k?" So she's asking, what's better? Is the Roth 401k option better or the 401k option? So as you saw from the title of this episode, I am a huge fan. 100% of the time, I like the Roth 401k much better than I like the traditional 401k. But why is that, right? You can't just explain, or you can't just say, I like this better. You have to explain why. So that's for the next few minutes. I want to just explain how this all started. So back on episode 114, I had a 401k expert come on the show, Rebecca Walser. She actually wrote a book on this, and she's totally against the 401k. And you're probably thinking, wait a second, aren't I supposed to be saving into my retirement? Wait, why would anybody be against a 401k? Well, hear me out on this, okay? She opened up my eyes to this. I started doing some digging into why the 401k isn't your best option if there's other options out there like a Roth 401k. So it's still investing, it's still saving for retirement. I'm for that. But a Roth 401k is always going to be better. And here's why. So we have to kind of look at the history of the 401k. The 401k has been around since 1978. The Roth 401k has only been around since 2006. So if you look at the two, one of them is much, much newer than the other one, okay? So how do these work? So the difference here is, the big difference is a Roth 401k, you are saving in your retirement with after-tax dollars, okay? Or a 401k, you probably noticed that if you put money into your 401k, it's not taxed. If you haven't noticed, it comes out of your paycheck, it goes into the investment, but it's never been taxed. So obviously the US government, the IRS would like to get their money at some point. So with a 401k plan, money is taxed when you withdraw it. With a Roth 401k, money is taxed right now. Okay, so that's the biggest difference. Okay, there's some other differences too we'll break down, but the biggest difference is a 401k money goes in tax-free, it grows tax-free, but then when you go to withdraw the money, you're going to pay taxes like it's ordinary income. Okay, now on the other side, a Roth 401k, it goes in after tax. So you've already paid taxes on it. The government already got their money. It grows tax-free, and in retirement, it comes out tax-free. Now, why does that matter right now? So let's just kind of take a step back and let's think about this whole 401k system. So if you're wondering why they're called 401k, or maybe and when I say 401k, it's synonymous with all of these things. 403b, maybe you have a 457, maybe you have a 401a, or maybe you have a thrift savings plan. So I'm just going to use the word 401k to encompass all of those. Okay. So you know that if you have any of these, you can put money in, it goes in pre-tax, it grows tax-free, and then it comes out and you pay taxes on it. And also, you know that your employer, about 80% of employers out there, they will give you a match. So I was working with a client the other day, and they had said, we broke down their 401k, and it looked like if they put in 7%, their employer would match up to 5%. So they put in 7, they get up to 5%. Okay. And then after that, so think about that. If you make $50,000 a year and you're not putting in the 7%, then in that situation, you wouldn't get the free $2,500 match every single year. So there is a match. Now, the cool thing with Roth 401ks, there's just also a match. If the employer can put into a 401k match, they can also put into a Roth 401k match, okay? So I guess what it comes down to is, why am I a fan of paying taxes now than paying taxes later in life? Why wouldn't I want to lower my income or my taxable income now? And if you put money into a 401k, let's say you make $100,000 a year and you put in the maximum amount in your 401k, which is $19,500, then you're only going to get taxed on the $80,000-ish dollars. Okay, so you're paying less taxes now. But so I'm encouraging people to pay the tax now with a Roth 401k. Why is that? Great question. So let's move back to 1978 when the 401k plan was created. Now, I took some notes here. I wrote down some numbers because I got a lot to throw at you. So in 1978, about 40% of people out there had a pension. Okay. And so most of us had a pension in I wasn't around, but in 1978, the majority of people in the workforce had a pension. Compare that to 2020, only 13% had a pension. So you're probably thinking, well, the 401k was created to replace the pension. No, it was not. The 401 that becoming the replacement for the pension happened on accident. The 401k was actually a very sneaky, I wouldn't say sneaky, but a very convenient way for very wealthy people to defer their bonuses and not get taxed on it. Now you're probably thinking, well, why does that matter? Well, let's go back to 1978. If you look at the tax brackets in 1978, they were way higher than they are now. For example, the highest federal income tax bracket in 2020 is 37%. So if you make, let's say you're single and you make $500,000 a year, you're gonna pay 37% in taxes. In 1978, so not now, but 1978, the tax rate, the maximum federal tax rate was 70%. So it was almost double. So if you were making good money, right? If you were wealthy or you had a really high income, 70% of that was being taxed. So you were trying to do everything you possibly could to get your money away from taxes, right? That makes sense. And we still do that today. But imagine if it was 70% income tax. Now, for the majority of people, they weren't maxed out at 70%. So what I did is I took some numbers here. So really easy math. $100,000 in today's dollars, in today's income, is equal to $25,000 in 1978. So if you're making $100,000 today, that would be about making $25,000 in 1978. Okay, so with about 3% inflation. So we look at that and we say, okay, what was the tax rate comparing apples to apples? So in 1978, if you made $25,000, which is the equivalent to $100,000 today, then you were paying 45% on your income, 45% tax. Today, you would be paying 24%. So the difference is 21%. So if you make $100,000 and you're filing single, you're in the 21% or 24% tax bracket. If you were in 1978, you'd be in the 45% tax bracket. So really, we fast forward to 2020, we're paying 21% less taxes. Now, let me ask you this. So we just recently, the United States here, we just took out another $2.2 trillion in debt. The student loan crisis has $1.6 trillion in debt of federally backed student loans that you and I are paying for, right? They're backed by us, okay? And the federal debt is $25 trillion as of right now. So that's $203,000 per taxpayer. That's what we owe. So do you think that now that we're in a very low tax rate environment, and I can't predict the future, so I'm posing this question. Do you think that we're going to pay less taxes in the future or more taxes in the future? Think about that. We have $25 trillion in debt. The debt is going up by the second. That's about $200,000 per taxpayer in the United States owes this $25 trillion, okay, if you divide it out. So if that debt is going to be paid off, are we going to be paying less taxes in the future or more taxes? And that's a question that I'm asking myself. I don't know. My guess, my estimate would be probably more. So if I'm going to be paying more taxes in the future, wouldn't I want to pay the taxes now than in the future? That's one thing, okay? Yes, for me, absolutely. I would rather pay taxes now. Also, right now, I have a job. I have an income. Later on, when I'm retired, I won't have an income. So for me, I feel like I'm in a position to pay taxes now that I have a job, that I have an income source. Then later on in life, I don't know what the taxes are going to be. I'm assuming they're going to be higher than they are now. So that's why I'm such a big fan of a Roth 401k over a 401k, because you're paying the taxes now. Now, there's some other things too that keep in mind. With a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k, your money is growing tax-free. Okay, so that's the similarities between the 401k and the Roth. So the money goes in, some of it goes, if it's a Roth, it goes in after tax. If it's a regular 401k, it goes in pre-tax. They both grow tax-free, and then you pay the taxes on it in a 401k, or a Roth 401k, you don't. What does that look like? Let's say that you did really, really, really well saving your money, and you have approximately let's say you have $1 million nest egg, okay? So if you have $1 million, okay, and you go to pull out, let's say you're in the 25% tax bracket at that time. We're just estimating, saying taxes then are going to be 25%. So if you have $1 million in your 401k and you go pull that money out, you're going to pay 25% tax. So that $1 million is really $750,000, okay? Now, if you have a Roth 401k, towards the end of your life or in retirement, and you have $1 million in there, it's already been taxed. You're not going to have to pay taxes on that money. It's already been taxed, right? There's no double taxation, okay? So I'm a huge fan of the Roth 401k. To kind of sum up here, big takeaway here is if you're going to choose between a 401k or a Roth 401k, I almost always recommend the Roth 401k. Money goes in after tax, it grows tax-free, comes out tax-free. You don't pay any taxes on that. Now, there are some stipulations that you should know about. So let's say that you're nearing retirement and you're looking at this Roth 401k versus 401k, okay? One thing is if you put money in a Roth 401k, even if you're age 59 and a half, that's the age you can withdraw from a 401k or a Roth 401k penalty-free, you still have to be inside it for 5 years. So you have to be investing in the Roth IRA for 5 years. So if you're retiring in 25 years from now, it's a no-brainer, nothing to worry about. But let's say you're retiring in 2 years, you're 58 years old, and you know you want that, you're going to need that money. I would say just know that you are going to have to wait 5 years. Once you start investing into a Roth 401k or a Roth IRA, you have a 5-year rule before you can withdraw that money. Another thing you should realize too about the Roth 401k. So later in life, when you hit age 72, and it'll probably move as we move, as we get older, but right now in 2020, it's 72 years old. So if you are age 72 and you have money in an account that hasn't been taxed, like a 401k or an IRA, those are all pre-tax investment vehicles. If you have money in those and you're age 72, the IRS is saying, hey, we need our money, okay? So they're going to make you take what's called RMDs, required minimum distributions. And it's calculated based on your life expectancy, which the IRS has tables for that, and the amount that is inside your account. And you have to start taking that money out. Now, that's just gee whiz, okay? Or that's something you're going to have to do. But if you have a if you have a Roth IRA, there are no RMDs. So let's say that you wanted to leave an inheritance and you had this account, $500,000 in your Roth. There are no RMDs. You don't have to take those out. However, a Roth 401k does have RMDs. So keep that in mind. It has some of the similar 401k rules, but there are the same rules there. So there are loopholes around that. There's always loopholes in the tax code. If you hire a good CPA, you'll find them, okay? And they're legal loopholes, so maybe you shouldn't call them loopholes. But if you are nearing retirement or you're nearing age 72 and you have money sitting in a Roth 401k, you are going to want to do a rollover into a traditional Roth IRA. So Roth 401k, move it to a Roth IRA. Now it's not subject to RMDs. Your CPA should know that and should be helping you with that. Another thing that you should know too about if you are retiring at all from your employer is if you have a 401k or a Roth 401k, I would highly suggest that you get your retirement out of there once you leave your employer. I would roll that over into an IRA or a Roth IRA if you have the Roth 401k. And the reason why is even the godfather, the person that founded the 401k or created the 401k, his name's Ted Banna. He's still alive, but he even says to this day that he kind of wishes he didn't create the 401k because it made Wall Street, which is just a street, but it made the people that work there incredibly wealthy with greed because the fees are outrageous. So you do pay higher fees inside your employer-sponsored plan because what options do you have? Now, let me ask you this. Maybe you're sitting there thinking, wait a second, Chris, I don't have a Roth 401k at my work. Am I not able to have access to it? You still can have access to a traditional Roth IRA. Now, there's some differences there. So a Roth 401k, you can put right now, you can put $19,500 in there. Okay. Versus if you are putting money into a Roth IRA, you can only put in $6,000. Okay. So that's the limit. Is it $6,000? It might be $6,500. It changed in 2020. It's, let's see here. I'm sorry. It's $6,500. So if you have a traditional Roth IRA account, you can open those anywhere. I'm a big fan of Betterment. I'm a big fan of Ally Invest. Those are the two places that I use. I'll put links in the show notes to those, but you can also talk to your financial advisor. You can put in $6,500 into a Roth IRA. However, if you have a Roth 401k, now you can put up to the same amounts as the traditional 401k, which is $19,500. If you're over age 50, there is a catch-up period. So you could put an extra $1,000 into a Roth IRA, or you could put an extra $6,500 into a Roth 401k. So let's just kind of sum this up real quick. If you have a Roth 401k at your work and you have the option of a 401k, I would recommend, if I'm in your shoes, I'm putting money in the Roth 401k before I'm putting money in my 401k. Okay. You get a match in either one. So put the amount in that's going to give you a match. I would say put as much as you can in. So the maximum you could put in for 2020 is $19,500 plus another $6,500 if you're over age 50. Now, if you don't have access to a Roth 401k at work, here's what I'm doing if I'm in your shoes. Okay. Again, this is not, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. So I'm telling you, this is what I would do. Okay. You do what you want. This is what I'm doing. Okay. So for me, if I'm at a job and my employer offers a 401k, but not a Roth 401k, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest the amount where I get the match into my 401k because that's free money. Okay. So for example, you look at your, go through your packet, talk to HR, find out what's the minimum amount percentage-wise I have to put in to get the maximum match inside my 401k. I was working with somebody recently. They had to put in 7% of their income to get the maximum match of 5%. Then I'm going to go over and I'm going to put the rest that I was going to invest, whatever the amount is, I would put that into a Roth IRA. It's good to have after-tax and pre-tax dollars. I think it's better to have after-tax dollars, but you want to take advantage of the free match. So kind of rewinding, I know I went all over the place here, but just if you're wondering, Chris, should I be investing in a Roth 401k or a 401k? I'm going to tell you all day long, a Roth 401k. For the obvious reasons that I would rather pay taxes now when we're in a low tax rate environment versus taxes in retirement when taxes may go up and I'm not going to have a job then. So the income's going to look a little bit differently in retirement. That's why it's called retirement. So in retirement, I would rather not have to pay any taxes at all. I would like to say, this is my nest egg. This is what I have to work with. And the IRS doesn't get any of it. Okay. So that is my suggestion for myself. Again, I have to say that this is for myself. But if you think that's good advice, then you could take it. But again, I'm not telling you to take that advice. I'm saying if I'm in your shoes, this is what I would do. I have to say that. If you have a 401k and you're thinking, well, I have been putting money in my 401k for 10 years. I wish I would have been putting it in the Roth. You still can. You can still do a rollover. However, you're going to pay taxes at your tax rate. So if you're in the 24% tax rate and you have $100,000 in your 401k and you want to roll that over and do a Roth 401k, then what you would do is you'd have to write a check for $24,000, 24% to move that money over. Now it's been taxed. It can't be taxed later. I would not ever suggest paying the tax out of your investments. That's going to lower your nest egg. So I wouldn't suggest doing that. Again, I wouldn't do that if I'm in your shoes. So I'm just throwing that out there. Let's see. Anything else that I'm missing here when I was answering that question? Let's see. I think that's it. So again, go and do some research. Find out if you have a Roth 401k. If you don't, open up a Roth IRA. Okay. It's a great tool to invest in. There's a reason why there's limits on the Roth IRA because it's so good. People will be putting a lot more in there. And thanks so much for listening. And also too, we are going to be opening up re-enrollment for Smart Money Academy. If you are looking to change the way you handle money forever, if you're looking to pay off debt, save money, looking for financial changes that aren't going to just last this year, but will last a lifetime. I'll put links in the show notes, but we are opening enrollment to Smart Money Academy. It is limited because it's a live program. It's not an online course or anything like that. It's live. We do it live. It's 5 weeks long. We'll be opening that up here in a few weeks. We just wrapped up our last class. So if you're looking for some help on basically going from point A to B in financial freedom, that's what we're doing here. We're not reinventing the wheel, but we have a 97% success rate in people paying off their debt, saving $500 in that 5 weeks, and living on a real cash flow plan. So we'd love to have you. That's coming up here in about 2 weeks. So I'll put links in the show notes here, or you can just go to smartmoneyacademy.co. And then the links in the show notes, head on over to moneypeach.com/session 131. That's moneypeach.com/session 131. And all the links, all the show notes will be in there. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out with me, watching. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook or you're listening to the podcast, thanks so much. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in the next episode. Take care, guys.